fellow builders, and welcome back to the bench. It's Friday, and I'm the mediocre modeler. You put those two together, and that means it's time for the Mandalorian helmet update. Didn't get a whole lot done, but I am satisfied what I did get done. Here's the first thing. So the visor. In order to get the T visor done, first we needed a pattern for that. And the last time I did this, I just put the tape on the outside. And this time I decided to put the tape on the inside to make a smaller, to get closer to being able to fit inside there. And I ended up with, I used duct tape, taped it on the inside, just kept cutting, pulling strips and placing it. And once that was done, pulled it out. Typically, I just take a piece of acrylic sheet, tape, take the tape, put it on there, trace it, cut it out. Okay. Once it's cut out, you end up with a T visor. Now, it's flat. So you take the heat gun and so the challenge at this point is trying to match that arc. And you have to just do it a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. And you don't want it, you want it to be able to sit on the inside, and you really want it to match up as best you can, because you would be using typically Velcro on the tips or whatever, and you want it as flush against that as possible. You don't want it pulling away from the plastic and pulling your Velcro adhesive off of this. But I got this sucker done. I was happy with that. I figured I might be able to modify the sides, and that's a nice solid visor, but it was flat down here at the bottom. And so I was on the last little bit, and I'm heating it up and getting it shaped, and I had too much of a curve in it. So I heated it up a little bit more and was moving it back into a lesser curve and broke it. And it was so frustrating. I was so close. But it is what it is. But that led to something better. So the something better is I ended up going to a welding shop and picked up one of these guys. And so this is a face shield replacement, and it's a lot thinner plastic. The upside to this is I did the same thing. I just peeled. I still had my template. I took it off of there. I put it on here. I traced it out. I took a pair of snips. It cuts through plastic a lot easier. With the other, I had to use the either my bandsaw or a Dremel with a cutoff wheel to try and get it to cut. This, just cut it with the nippers there, and it's all it was so much easier. So I would say this is the way you need to go as far as your visors are concerned, because it's already got the curve in there. It fits inside so nicely, and I think I'm going to end up using an epoxy or gluing it in there or something. We ended up with this guy. And so what I've done here is this is just regular car window tint that I attached to the front of it. I did this yesterday, hung it and let it dry. Now, the thing I would do differently is I put the tint on the outside, and I got some little bit of bubbles and stuff that, because it was hard to get it on there flat. And you with this stuff, you're always going to get bubbles or something in it. The next time I do this, I think I will do the film on the inside. So even if I do get little bubbles, it's going to be hard to see them for one, and for two, you'll have the whole flatness of the plexiglass there, so you don't have to worry about any contours or whatever going on there. So the next thing all we have to do now is trim this out and basically fit it in there, and we're good to go. But we're not going to do that. We're going to get this trimmed out, but we're not going to adhere it in there because this guy is actually ready for our first coat of paint. After using my gray primer, I took a trip to the hardware store to pick up some other colors. You can certainly use, if you've got the Tamiya hobby paints, test stores, whatever, that stuff works great because you're painting over plastic. It's just another model. That's not a big deal. But in this instance, at least in the instance of my helmet, I was wanting to make the plastic look like metal. These metallic paints, rust-only metallic paints, do a great job at that. Mine was made the hammered gray. I found another one there, and I think it's like antique hammered gray or whatever. It's got more of a modelly look to it. It was so interesting that I decided that I needed to find something to build that I can use that paint for. Typically, I figure it's the other way around. You know, you build the thing like, what color do you want to be? So, on this helmet, I'm using this. This is black stainless steel, and it looks like there's a little bit of brown in that too. It's not. I don't know what I'm going to use that for, but I'm taking that home. I like this flat, soft iron. Again, this paint speaks to me, and not literally, but you know what I'm saying. Hey, Kelvin, paint me. Anyway, I'm gonna see. Sometimes you just have to get it on there and lay it down and see if it looks like how you want it to look. Because in my head, I did the layout in my head. Oh, this is going to be this color. This is going to be this color. And then I get the paint on there, and I decided, no, that's not how I want to lay that out. That's not going to be the way it looks. This one's going to have a little bit of color. I'm going to kind of reverse my coloring. Instead of having the main color be an accent, the main color is going to be the overall body. So this is where we are so far. All right. So I think that came out pretty good. I mean, look just. So at first I was just going to do this in a metallic and then have everything else be this blue color. Then I decided, after seeing the front, that I didn't want to do it that way. I wanted to paint the blue last. So what I'm going to go back over, I did the front in the flat soft iron. And when I first painted, I'm going to be honest with you, if you remember, I did not sand any of this. This is just straight off the printer. I did have, I didn't even use Plasti Dip on it. And you're getting those lines, and at first I was like, I don't want to see those lines. But in my head, for whatever reason, that metallic and those lines work together. So we're gonna have to take this part off because it's the color that I want it. And I did the back, so the front of the T-visor and the back of the head. Oh, what happened there? Oh, okay. Looks like I got some more sanding to do. Luckily, that's a part that needs to be redone. It looks like something got into the paint. I pushed it too far back on the shelf, and the paint. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Everything's fixable. So, anyway. So this is the color I want it to be. Gonna have to mask that off. Gonna mask off the T-visor. Then I need to figure out what color my ears are gonna be. I know this portion here, I know the color for that, and this are going to match. So it's just a matter of laying it all out the way I want it, and then stepping back and going, yeah, that looks good, or no, I need to change that. The other thing that I have been hesitant to do, it's time, is removing this bottom support structure. It is so nice to be able to set this down and know that it's level and do whatever painting, but I need to get this off here so I can sand that bottom of that. Get that smoothish. Doesn't need to be glass, but it doesn't need to be all razor bladey either. Jagged edgy, whatever you want to call it. So that is where we are for the moment. That helmet there, I really haven't done anything with it. I've been really focusing on this one. Like I said, this one was speaking to me because it's going to be easier, because this is the same style as mine. That one's different. The T-visor is going to be I think it's going to be a little bit wider, but we'll get to that. It's been a weird 3D printing week. Not weird bad. So I've just found myself talking to different people across different medias about 3D printing all week. A couple of guys have had their printers for a couple weeks and they're just starting their first prints. Another guy just got his printer just yesterday. You know what I'm talking about. And then it was like, well, let's start asking different people, would you be interested in a Facebook page? Maybe we could share knowledge and that sort of thing. And everybody said overwhelmingly yes. So I started a Facebook page. It's under, well, I already had a Facebook page, The Mediocre Modeler, but I started a Facebook group. And the group is called 3D Printers Ready Room. Because we're ready. We're ready to print. But we all may have a problem here or there that we don't know how to solve. And someone else, hopefully, if we get the group big enough, hopefully someone will have the answer. I've only been doing this for a year, so I'm still learning too. I learned about infill this week. So there's hopefully there's going to be something there for all of us. It also gives us a place to show off our finishes and our failures, because it's all helpful. So if you go to Facebook, go and look up. I'm still working on this. That end of things, I'm still learning. So it's set up as the 3D Printers Ready Room under the Mediocre Modeler webpage. If I need to do it a different way for you to be able to find it in the searches, let me know, send me a text or send me an email and I'll figure that out. But I think it's going to be a group effort, something we can do together and have fun and share in this 3D printing experience. Okay, that being said, it's time for you to go build something. You've been updated as to where we are with these guys, and we're going to move forward. We will see you next week, and have a good weekend. Go build something. Pew 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 pew.